she's like, perhaps, but I'm still asking.
Yes, I would like to come with you, Morella.
Very well.
In the meantime, I have some preparations to make, as I will be both a combatant and a general. And then I pat Morella on the shoulder as I walk past her.
Yeah, she smirks and shakes her head. Brightest man he is. And she obviously says this when you leave and is out of hearing range. He can be kind of dumb sometimes. And she begins to go find Kree next.
Okay.
After this encounter.
Kree, where does she find you?
I'm probably laid back, captured in my tent by Noct. He is not a calm sleeper, and he rolls around quite a lot.
Yeah, so I probably would I have ever heard you like whistle to get Noct's attention or anything of that sort, Kree?
Once.
Okay, she's going to attempt to imitate that whistle. Whether she does it perfectly the same way
make a performance check is the correct answer here.
Yeah.
All right.
And also, yeah. No, just make a performance check. I'll let you know what happens.
That's not bad.
It's pretty good. I think Noct wakes up in a start. Kree, roll a dexterity saving throw.
Oh, no.
Well, you've killed him.
Oh, no.
Okay, yeah. So right before Noct steps on your tail, you're able to just, like, dodge roll out of the way as he, like, stands up and, like, starts jostling things around inside of the tent. Luckily, you're able to duck out of the way in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Noct! Calm down. That wasn't me.
Yeah, he turns and he has like a blanket like over his head, and he like shakes it off, and like it looks around kind of sleepily and dumbfounded.
Get out of the tent. Go. Yes. Hello, Morella.
Yeah, and she probably like lets Noct get out of the tent, or if he was saying that towards me.
No, he's telling Noct. Noct lumbers out of the tent to go find breakfast.
Yep. She just clears the throat. So, Kree, how are you doing today?
Tired and confused. But
confused?
Awake.
About what?
It seems that many of the humans have started to call me Lord. It's strange.
She kind of like puts a finger to her chin and just simply says, well, it is a sign of respect to what they deem as a commander or one of higher status.
Well, what did you wake me for, Morella?
I've come to ask you. I believe, as you know, I am leading the mission to get inside Mindenheim. And I need people for that. I've come to ask you for if you wish to aid me in this mission. You have the choice to say no.
I don't think I will, Morella. I do have a suggestion on who you might take, however.
She raises an eyebrow. Oh?
See, we lizard men are separated. There's those like myself, the Saurus, and the smaller ones, the skinks. You've seen them run around.
Yes, I believe so.
Let me take you to one. He's the stealthiest commander I know. I think he might be able to help you out.
Very well. She gestures for you to lead.
Yeah, so where do you lead her?
Probably to what's left of the scout regiment.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the last of my skinks would be. And that one particular skink, the Great Crest, the one that originally met us in the forest.
Yeah. What's his
guessing
name?
He would be it. His name?
Yeah. I didn't make one for him, so I'm asking you.
Farseer. Just nice and simple. His name is Farseer Obek.
Okay. And he greets you with a traditional greeting. He kind of like, bangs his fist on his chest. And he says, it is good to see you. How may I be of assistance? Also you, the Lady of Fairheart.
And she bows politely.
I have a mission for you, Obek. Morella here is leading a mission into the city. And they need to be quiet about it. I know that's your forte, so I've recommended you for my spot.
Your praise is most welcome, leader. I will serve with honor. In your name and the name of Chotek.
For Chotek. Thump.
Yeah, and he turns to you, Morella, and he goes, what do you require of me? Will it be scouting?
In a sense, when we all gather, it will be more clear. For now, relax while you can.
I will prepare what I will. And he gives you that kind of greeting and scampers off to collect his things.
Uh-huh. And with that, she just pats Cree on the shoulder. Thank you.
Aye. Good luck in the city. From what I've seen of the enemies, they are dangerous.
Yeah, and she walks away, and she's like, I have no fear. I think I am leading the right group for this task. And next, I believe, is Aelin.
Okay, yeah. Aelin, where does Morella find you if you're back? I saw you said be right back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
I am wherever Daniela led me.
So yeah, I mean, you were brought to your tent to go to sleep. And this
Sure.
this is the next morning, although I don't know how much sleep you got. In fact, probably when you arrive, Morella, you hear from like just there's the royal guard, and then there's the kind of black shielded guard standing outside, and you can hear like kind of muffled. You can't pick up any of the words, but you hear like rapid fire talking from a single source. And you probably just like stand there for a moment, and then the tent flap kind of like bursts open, and you see Daniela walk out. And Daniela is like, her hair's kind of disheveled. She obviously didn't brush it this morning. She's got bags under her eyes. She looks disgruntled. But I mean, that's typical Daniela these days. And probably following like immediately on our heel and the source of the rapid fire discussion.
No, Daniela, you can't leave yet. We haven't finished discussing. Oh, Lady Morella, hello. How may I help you?
Yeah, and Daniela very quickly is like, oh, thank the goddess. Walks off in the other direction.
Yeah, as she begins walking off, Morella says, Daniela, when you have a moment, I need to speak with you then.
I think she turns and she says, just give me time to drink some water first. You deal with her. And, like, walks off.
She raises an eyebrow. She mutters, what does she mean by that?
I haven't the slightest clue.
And she turns, you seem chipper this morning, Aelin.
I am, yes. Lots of planning to do.
So, Morella, you're aware of perhaps what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Although it was not made specifically clear to Aelin who Cahill had told.
Yeah.
So.
And she just smiles, and she's like, she plays dumb.
Yeah, probably.
And she's like,
appropriate.
"Oh, what do you mean?"
Oh, you haven't heard? And she kind of like looks around and like leans in, and she's like, Cahill proposed.
The whole like, "Oh my god, really?"
Oh no!
No way! It's amazing.
Yeah, she does the whole like faking of like hand over mouth, like gas
Yeah.
mouth, and she's like,
Oh
Wow.
my god.
"Yeah."
Look at his
But
I should ask, Farron, have you caught up with Marilla yet?
I mean,
Or Marilla, did you give Farron the morning off?
I gave Farron the morning off.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Farron,
if you
you
want
have
to go
free
do
reign
this.
to kind of do whatever you want.
Mhm.
Yeah, then I'm definitely not with this one.
Okay.
Yeah, he gets 1 day off a month. He better use it well.
Yeah.
Mm.
Congratulations, Aelin. Though, I think it wasn't. I think I saw it apparent a little before.
Oh, did you? We were trying not to be obvious.
You did well. I just, from one woman to another, we pick up things like that. But I've come to ask you, Aelin.
Lol. Yes, of
Uh,
course. Here, come in. Let's speak inside.
Yes. Well, to start off, I suppose there's no easier way to ask this, but would you, Aelin, assist me in the mission that I have? I know that both you and Anthony, well, with Anthony proposing to you and the arrangements and things of that sort, you can obviously say no, but, and I know you have many patients to attend to, but I ask you this, Aelin, because of this matter. Your help would possibly save not only the lives of your current patients, but the lives of perhaps hundreds or even thousands of soldiers. You have the right to say no to this. I'm not forcing this upon you.
I think Galen thinks for a long moment, kind of obviously brought down from
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
level
Yeah.
of excitement to
Back
the
to
reality
reality.
of the
Yeah.
actual important things that are going on around her. And I think she just kind of nods a few times solemnly and then looks you back in the eye, Marilla, and she just says, I don't know that I am best suited for this task, and at this point, I do feel there are people I need to consult before I answer you. But you know that I am always there to help if you need it.
Your help would be most appreciative. But, again, you have the right to say no.
No, you don't.
Yeah, so I think Elin just says, I will need a few hours to think about it. And I will
Tell
get
me
back
at the
to
end
you.
of the day. How does that sound?
Yes, that sounds just fine.
And she probably like pats your thigh, and she's like, "Well, nonetheless, congratulations to you, Aelin. I'm sure both of you will be very happy together."
Yes, thank you, Morella.
And she gets up and begins walking out, and she's like, "Just do it for the best intentions, for the decision that you make, not for your own." And then walks out.
Okay. I think that as you're leaving, you see Daniela, who is like, has clearly like dumped a bucket of water over her head and is kind of like, kind of combing her hair back with her fingers and like putting it back in its typical tight ponytail, and like she's clearly like washed off a little bit. And she says, as she approaches you, she says, "Ah, Lady Fairheart, you had need to speak with me."
Yes. Well, I've come to ask you if you wish to join the mission at hand. I'm sure you're aware.
So she probably isn't.
No.
So you probably have to explain it to her, which we don't need to go through. And I think that she looks like deeply troubled. And I think she says, "I will consider it, but I must consult with my counterpart on this. I assume this is the same speech in which you gave her?"
Yes. You may both give me your answer at the end of the day.
I understand. Thank you for your consideration, Lady Fairheart.
I do not want people who do not wish to go to possibly send to the deaths.
And I think she kind of smiles and she says, "Try as you might, Lady Fairheart. For some of us, we have other desires that drive us, and it may not be your decision to force us. However, our tenants can lead us in interesting ways."
Indeed. Take care, Daniela.
Farewell. And she steps inside the tent. So who's next on your list, Morella?
Definitely, Severin, Petrov. So, let's get that man, on the chopping block.
So you want to ask Petrov if he wants to go with you?
Yes.
Okay.
If I could find him.
Totally, yeah. Where is Ambassador Petrov, Liam?
I expect that he's planning and communicating with people, given the news heading around that the imminent emperor has just
Yeah, it's spreading like
proposed
wildfire.
marriage. Yeah. So he's got adjustments that he needs to make on that, because much as he suspected there was something going on, he didn't realize that they were that close to getting married.
Yeah, Cahill has kind of forced the issue because he feels the desire to have that moment before marching into battle. It will rally the people to fight just that much harder.
Yeah, and he's probably kicking himself a little for not having already predicted that.
Right, totally.
So he'll be probably at his tent, handling diplomatic business.
And so, just kind of like out of character, I assume that you would give a very kind of, I have too much shit going on here. I need to stay here. But would you give leave for Morella to ask the Spear Maidens if they would like to go?
Yeah, I think Petrov's response would be, in short, that's flattering, but I am a politician.
Yeah.
Much though I may have sometimes been effective, I'm not, like, behind enemy lines in deep hostile territory is the least effective place for him.
Right, totally.
So,
No.
so he would bow out of that, but he would say, of course, the Spear Maidens are... He would encourage them, but of course not force them to go.
Yeah, and so I think that, Morella, we probably see you outside the tent after that conversation, and you're standing in front of Kira and Malia.
Yep.
And they're kind of like standing there, like, what is your prompt to them? How do you go about asking them for their assistance?
She just clears her throat. And what were the names again? Kira
and Malia. Kira is the halfling, and Malia is the human.
Yeah. Kira, Malia.
I think they purposely don't respond. They just kind of stare at you.
Yeah. Okay. So the I just wanted their attention, not like whether they responded to me or not. She says, "Tell me, do you want to go for a spar for a bit? I could use some practice."
think they look at each other, and Kira probably says, "And who will be your second?"
She smirks and she's like, "Well, I think I can manage."
Yeah, they both kind of get smiles on their faces, and they probably head off with you to spar without a need of role play.
Yep.
I want you to roll me an athletics check just to ensure that you don't break your ankle or anything. No, I'm just kidding. You're not going to break your ankle, but just to kind of give like a general where you're at on this.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a skill you have.
They have specific orders to not break her too badly. She's got this tomorrow.
So a 25, I think, makes this slightly in your favor. Definitely in your favor one-on-one. They cannot match you one-on-one, but when they work together, I assume, because this seems like something Morella would do, she would say, okay, now both of you come at me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
They probably best you 1 out of 5 times, something around there.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, again, 2 people against 1, but who are not only just, like, random...
they're not random
soldiers. It might take 10, maybe even 20.
Right.
But there's highly skilled individuals, and even then, it's taking both of them.
Yeah, so this probably goes on for about an hour or so, and all of you kind of end panting. And out of breath, and, perhaps grabbing some refreshments. What do you say?
Well, I had it in my mind that, like, in the middle of the fight...
Okay, yeah, sure.
She would be asking the questions to them.
Okay.
So it's kind of like...
Yeah, so what kind of questions are you asking?
Definitely... it starts off with just, how are you two doing? Literally as though, like, sparring against each other. And then it goes to the main question, as in... I'm, leading a mission, and Petrov, I have asked before, but he has recommended that you twos, perhaps, I take instead. You obviously can say no, but this is of a matters of importance.
Do you give him the details on, like, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that they look at each other, and probably, there's probably some type of, like, if you can beat us bet. Mm-hmm. And I think that you do, right? In that moment, you drive forward and do best them. And they probably say, Kira probably says, "We are women of our word. We will go with you, Lady Fairheart. We must make arrangements for the ambassador to be guarded, however. That is our first mission."
And she nods and she's like, "Take the time to prepare. I do not know how many of us will come back. I want all of us to, obviously, but I cannot guarantee it."
Yeah, and they kind of look at each other and they look back smiling and says, "Well, for one, we will ensure that you come back. If not walking, at least on your shield, Lady Fairheart."
She smiles and, like, probably, like, does the whole slug the shoulders, but not really hard type of thing.
Yeah.
To Malia and Kira, and she says, "You're both fine guardsmen.
Sure.
I hope to have the glory of sparring with you once more. And who knows, perhaps you'll beat me more than once."
Yeah, and I think they just smile and give you, like, a sharp salute and head off to go find retainers for the ambassador.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're solidly on your team.
Okay. So, let's see. I'm thinking in my head. You can go to others in the meantime.
Okay. So, I think that appropriately, we come across... Hannibal, you said you were going to go find...
Cahill.
You were going to go find Cahill, right?
Yeah, because I want to be in 2 places at once, and I'm going to need his help for that.
Okay, so you go find Cahill, and he's probably like, in fact, you probably like arrive at his tent, and he's perhaps like, you hear like whistling coming from inside the tent, and as you're given leave to enter, you see him kind of like, standing at he has servants like kind of attending him, like helping him get on his clothing for the day. And he seems to be whistling and in a good mood.
Clothes
Well.
are hard.
You seem happy.
And why shouldn't I be, General? It is a wonderful, glorious, beautiful day. Would you not agree?
I look around. What's the weather like?
It's actually probably like cloudy outside and not very sunny and bright and happy.
You have an interesting idea of good days. Did something happen?
Yeah, I think that he like grabs you, like gives you like a one-armed like hug around the shoulders, and he's like, "Any day is a good day if you make it one, General. Today shall be no different, this I promise. But you have business. Come, let us attend it."
Alright, I think we need to be alone for this, if you don't mind.
He kind of like waves his hands, and the servants depart.
So, I am going on the mission with Morella Fairheart to the inside of the city.
Yeah, and I think he nods and he says, "I expected so with your
However,
past."
yes. However, I do not intend to leave these lines alone either. As such, I'll be leaving my familiar to relay commands to me, to lay information, and for me to pass on commands. However, my familiar is a bit different.
And I think he says, he's like, "Well, what manner of creature is it? Certainly, if it is something that would frighten the children, I could keep it close by, so they did not see it. I'm
You
sure
know
that's, if anyone were to mistake it for a serpent, if that is what it is, or anything like that, it would be fine."
I kind of turn. You know of my family's history, correct?
More or less.
During our time of research, we have come across many creatures, many beings. Tell me, how are you with the Church of Sigmar? Do you believe in their teachings?
Yeah, I think he says, "Why, of course. Sigmar was the greatest of all emperors, and ascended to godhood, and we should all give him the respect and worship he deserves."
As I touch his shoulder, and I use heart sight when he says that, like, you know, kind of like a,
Mm-hmm.
you know, kind of like a camaraderie gesture.
Yeah, so I gotta make is it a charisma save?
Yeah, but it also tells me his current feelings
Mm-hmm.
automatically.
He is this guy. Charisma saving throw. 19.
I don't really care about that. I just want to know
Yeah.
his current feelings.
I would say he seems open and joyful. Those are his
However,
current feelings.
Although I also kind of know that he's not on good terms with the Church of Sigmar right now.
Yeah, no, certainly. It to you it seems like an odd answer.
Yeah.
And so his feelings may be distorted.
So I say, well, do you know the Fae?
Yes, of course. Creatures of the forest. They are, well, more akin with the woodland elves, I believe, but I know of the creatures.
I point out and say, I'm very happy that you know that. Because I know that here, a lot of people tend to associate Fae with chaos. Isn't that right?
Yeah, some certainly do. Certainly. The Empire specifically on that, everywhere else it's more streamlined, or it's more mainstream, but Empire specifically, like, again, Empire is very, if it's not Sigmar, it's only a little bit heresy.
So him
Like
saying that kind of shows that he's got a more open worldview.
Very much so, yes. You would definitely take that from his answer.
I'm glad you said that. Dane? And then I tell to send Dane the message to show himself.
Yeah. And so he just like appears, and he's like on your shoulder or your hand or whatever, right? And I think Cahill like kind of like for a moment he doesn't notice anything has changed, right? Because Dane is like tiny. And he, like you say that, and he's like, "Who is this Dane?" And then I think he sees Dane sitting on your shoulder, and he kind of like he does a thing where like he squints and looks closer, and then he kind of like recoils back, and he's like, "What manner of beast is this?"
This is a sprite, a type of fey creature.
That is interesting, Hannibal.
This is my familiar. I
Oh.
tend to keep him hidden for reasons you might know why.
Yeah, and I think you can see like his mind is in thinking mode, and he kind of like scratches his probably a little bit of stubble that he's got because he forgot to shave this morning, and he's like, interesting. And this creature can turn invisible, you say?
Yes.
Yes, I can see why that could be quite useful, indeed.
Very. So, as I intend to be both inside and outside, I need someone, possibly you, or someone you trust, to relay information through Dane to me, and to I can relay information from me to Dane to that person.
Yeah, and again, I think he says he's like, yes, indeed, it would be unfortunate for this type of resource to fall into the wrong hands. You know what, General? I believe that it would be most intelligent for perhaps I to take control of your familiar, or at least be in the accompaniment. I can gain useful insight, perhaps, that I can use to lead the armies, should we arrive and need to coordinate an assault. Would you not agree?
Yes, I was hoping to leave him with you.
Yes, I think that would work nicely.
Can I make an insight check on him?
Sure,
Also,
what are you
Dane,
looking for?
too. I'm looking, like, the way he said that, kind of like, I want to make sure that he's not getting strange ideas.
Okay, sure, make an insight roll.
I
He's
just
gonna
want to
seduce your familiar.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think. That was a very, like...
He seems really interested in this. He is very obviously pragmatic and understands the very useful applications that having a small familiar sprite can have.
So I say this. Dane, I'm going to leave you with Cahill. You are to listen to his orders. And then I send him a telepathic message, unless his orders conflict with mine.
Okay, sure. And Dane kind of like nods, and he probably flits over and is kind of like floating in front of Cahill's face. And Cahill like he's like looks a little awkwardly, but then I think he like very gently like raises his hand, and Dane kind of lands in it. And he holds Dane up to his ear, and we hear Dane say, and he relays what he says telepathically as well, just so you're aware, Hannibal. He's like, "It is an honor to meet you." And Cahill says, yes, the honor is mine, young friend. Well, perhaps not young, small friend, perhaps.
Yeah, those guys are old as shit.
Yes,
also, he's immortal.
Yes, I think that we will become very closely acquainted. You said that his name is Dane, and he looks to you, Hannibal.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes, this is good. A good, strong name, I'd say. Well, Dane, it is an honor to make your acquaintance, and I know that we will become fast friends. I'm sure of it. And, General, I thank you. This is truly a great showing of trust from you. Know that I will not betray this in any way. I can understand your concern.
I thank you, Cahill. And then as I'm leaving, I say, I hope you continue to have a wonderful day.
Yeah, and I think he just smiles and kind of like looks far off, and he's like, yes, I think that it will be more than just a day of wonder.
Mm-hmm. And then I send a telepathic message to Dane. Tell me everything that happens.
Yeah, totally.
Because I just basically openly sent him a spy.
Correct. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So, Jericho.
Yo.
your happenings within the camp are basically kind of waiting, right? Waiting for the next step to occur, for Marilla to gather her troops.
More or less, yeah.
Gathering information. So I think that perhaps at one point maybe you're like resting on a stump around like a group of maybe eavesdropping on some soldiers, perhaps, and you sense somebody watching you, and then approaching and kind of like joining you but not joining you, doing that thing where you sit on the bench but back to back so you're not like looking at each other and making it obvious. Right. Mel appears, and I'm going to ask this because I didn't ask this before, but do you have a call sign, and if so, what is it?
Oh Lord, I think he would at this point, but I'm not sure offhand what it would be.
Okay.
I will. Can I get back to you on that?
Yes. So she uses your call sign.
Yeah.
Because I've given you hers, first of all.
Yes.
And she says, "That is quite a wondrous item you have. It is no surprise to me that the Shadow called you his very best. You know the Shadow to be Zavros, the guy you work directly for."
Right.
And I think she says, "It is fortuitous that he has lent you to me, at least for this."
Fortuitous? I mean, more so than usual?
Yes, indeed. Well, to think that a direct path to the city would be available to us. It is a very specific skill set you have.
Huh. Well, it is my hometown. Once I worked out that this was possible, obviously I had a certain amount of priority in finding a way in.
Yes, without a doubt.
Or are you suggesting that it's overly convenient?
I've learned not to take anything at face value. I'm sure you understand. Even within the Order, one can have rivals. I know the Shadow holds no love for me.
Well, unfortunate, but nothing that we're not used to.
Indeed. 2 things I need to let you, well, perhaps make you aware of before we depart. One is obviously I will be going with you. And the rest
you
of
cut
it.
out there.
Oh, he says, she says, one is obviously I'll be going with you. It is my duty. The second is...
Openly or in disguise?
Quite openly. The others
Yes,
probably...
interesting methods with that, but I look forward to seeing it in action.
Yeah, and she says, the others probably will not know until I am there. The second is, I have a task that is of the utmost importance once we arrive. I need you to, perhaps, run interference once we are inside.
I thought that was the entire point of the mission. You're going to have to be more specific.
Fortunately, I can't, but know that I don't need this group. They have their own mission, which is of import as well, but I don't need them following me on mine.
Well, that shouldn't be too difficult.
Yes, well, perhaps with your history with Miss Fairheart, you understand that losing people is not something she copes with well.
That's true enough, but what exactly are you... Right, you can't be more specific.
All I can say is that there will come a time where I will have to depart from the company of the party for perhaps some time. I just need you to ensure that they understand their priorities are to perform the mission and get out safe, not to find me afterwards.
I think I would assure them that you can more than handle yourself, even inside a city like this, even at a time like this.
I think she says, yes. It is one of my specialties, as they say. But as long as we are clear on this.
Obviously, I'm at your disposal, so far as you're willing to tell me what that means.
For now, it is this. More later, perhaps, if I do indeed need assistance, which, until I arrive, I will not know.
The anticipation will be unbearable.
I think she gives like a light tinkling laugh, and she produces an apple from nowhere and kind of sets it like right next to you, and she says, "Perhaps you should get some food. You're looking famished, kind sir." And the disguise you have taken on, as you said, is kind of like an older, like, disheveled man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she gives you that and gets up and vanishes off into the distance. Leaving you with perhaps more questions than answers.
For sure, the first thing he's going to do is check to see if the apple might contain anything significant.
Yeah, totally. And so, like, you pick it up and you kind of, like, you do the inspection of it. Roll me an investigation check.
How much is there to investigate in an apple?
It's got a core. Bitch wanted me to choke.
Great. One of the 3 skills I don't have proficiency.
Yeah, it's fine. You rolled a 15.
Yeah.
Nothing appears to be amiss with the apple itself. It appears perfectly normal.
Well, that's charming then. I guess he'll snack on it as suggested.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Continue with his day of casual spying.
I mean, yeah, that's basically how it operates, right? Casual spying. But I think that we should also check in with Farron and see what you're doing, sir.
Who's that directed at?
You, Farron?
You cut out.
Oh, sorry. Am I cutting out like a lot?
No, just for seconds here and there, but it keeps on being keywords.
Oh, of
Yes.
course.
So when you said Farron,
Yeah, of course. It has to be the immediate moment in which I cut out. Farron, what have you been doing all day? You've been given leave of the day off, understanding that you are probably going to be going on this mission, regardless.
yes. I mean, in Farron's mind, this is the job that will allow him to, quote-unquote, settle down. So, he's approaching it with much more vigour than some of his previous trips. But, I know, I possibly would have done something with either Jericho or Mel, but I think just for the fact that Mirella has been watching me like a hawk for the past, 2 weeks, I'd probably run off with a scullery maid and perhaps take a trip through the hay.
Perfect.
Priorities clear.
So you emerge from your tumble in the hay in a barn somewhere, and as you walk out, you hear a crunch as somebody bites into an apple, and you kind of startle and look to your side, and Mel is sitting there leaning up against the wall of the barn, and she kind of looks at you, and you look at her, and she goes, "Did you enjoy yourself?"
Oh, I did, Mel. I still have a bit of energy if you're up for it. As I give a cheeky grin towards her.
I think she says, "Well, you are in quite the mood, aren't you?"
You're gonna get stabbed.
Actually, yeah, roll me an insight check, Farron.
My entire life is on the edge of
Life and
Getting
death.
stabbed.
death. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, she just kind of looks you up and down, and probably as awkward as you can imagine, at that immediate moment, a scullery maid goes, like, darting out of the barn. And you see Mel kind of, like, just turn and watch her. And you get the feeling that there was perhaps some animosity there. But she turns back to you and she says, "Nope. It appears to be only business today, Farron. Unfortunately for you."
Aye, that is a shame.
Yes, I'm sure you're all broken up about it.
Oh,
Regardless.
my heart pains of 1,000 cuts.
Well, cheeky today, too. Interesting. I thought perhaps the Lady Fairheart had beaten it all out of you.
I'm afraid I think it's more just repressed.
Yes, I know. I see the way that you look at her. Still.
Now, come now. What is this you need to tell me?
I assume you will be attending her on this mission.
Of course. Did you expect something else?
No, but I come to you with a task, should you choose to accept it.
Why? And what is this task that you dutifully given to me?
Marilla's friend, Miss Jericho. You are to keep an eye on him.
Why? Is there anything I need to be worried about?
Not particularly, but old friends from the past typically show up at inopportune times, would you not agree?
I couldn't agree with you more.
Then we understand each other.
Indeed. And I'll do it to the best of my abilities, man.
Good. And I think she walks up and, like, kind of forcefully links your arm inside of hers. And she says, "Now, we must talk about your antics." And begins, like, force marching you off back into the tents. And giving you a scolding. But with no words, right? It's, like, just the simple, like, you know...
Yeah.
Never directly addressing the issue. But, like, everything you say, there's just, like, that little hint of venom in each reply. And she remains at your side for the remainder of the time that you exist during the day. So I hope you feel like you fucked up. Anyway.
I mean, this is just the long game, you know?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And
Play hard to get, make them jealous. Is that the
Yeah.
long game? Okay.
Yeah, obviously. Also, the way to getting stabbed, but both sides of the same coin.
Both is probably an option. Just FYI. Both is a definite option.
Just for fun.
Simultaneously, even if you so wish it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're into that kind of stuff, but, you know, that can stay offline. So I think that this is a great place to take our break. We'll be back at 5 after the hour. Yeah. And we will figure out who's going to attend and who not, and move on with our mission momentarily. So, let's be back at 5 after, and we'll get to the things that Marilla and Aelin and everybody else requires to be done. And we'll see you then in just a few minutes.